So, what's going on Facebook? I'm here with my dude James F. Keith, and we're sitting here talking about urban agriculture as a solution. We're here at Philly Urban Creators. I posted on Philly Urban Creators a number of times already. I personally believe that it's a great example of urban agriculture as a solution to many things. I don't know if he's vibing with me. So what we're gonna do real quick, this gonna be my post for the day. We ain't talking about him right now.
I'm with you though.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about whether or not urban agriculture is a solution to many of the issues we have in our communities, ranging from lack of economics to whatever he do, to
nobody know what I do.
to mechanical, to the need for food, to the need for housing. So let's go. I believe it's a solution to many of the urban issues we have in our communities. What you think, Mr. James Felton Keith? Right. Now, mind you, we out here in North Philly.
Right away. We in Philly for the DNC. I'm here for politics, but we came to the actual neighborhoods to see, how people are looking to grow. I mean, look, do this pan around this acre worth of land. Get all this good mechanical engineering going over here. These are kids doing these things. Kids developing this. Get this, what is this, aquaponics? Mm-hmm. That's what you call this? All right, here's the kick. This is about an acre of land. It's a really good deal. It's a really good deal to educate. It's a really good deal to bring people in and give them a sense of community about how they build solutions to problems. But the grander problem is that it doesn't scale beyond this acre of land. So even if we made this whole acre of land fruitful and we taught every engineer or aspiring engineer in a 1 mile radius to cater to this land, it wouldn't take care of the rest of the neighborhood. It's really a 1 mile radius. And in this 1 mile radius, because the population is so dense, there are a lot of aspiring engineers. So when we rode over here, we were with Kwesi's kids, 2 of them. Kwesi got 9. I'm kidding, he don't got 9 kids. So we were riding with Kwesi's daughter and son, and we pick up these 2 young men, 12th graders in high school.
That are participating in this program.
They're participating in the program, and they talked about what they desired to do. One was more real estate focused, another one was auto focused, which is really interesting, because I think when we graduated from school, I went into auto engineering. Kwesi was an architect, he went into real estate, technically. And if you look at those kids and extrapolate them out over the population again in this 1 mile radius of this small acre, this piece of land doesn't scale wide enough to solve all of the food poverty solutions, all the education poverty solutions that they have. Now, it's a good test ground.
Okay, now let me jump in.
That's all I'm saying.
Let me jump in, because I think what he's saying is real. This one particular lot can't do it. But what this one particular lot can do is, as he said, it's a test ground. So for kids who've never ever, they don't even know that your food grows in the ground.
These are all greens right here.
These are all greens. Man, Grandma is salivating right now because she want to cook some greens.
And sunflower seeds.
So for kids, still exist. So for kids that don't even know that this is where your food actually comes from, yeah, you can teach them this is where your food comes from. For kids who don't even know that the rainwater can be used and captured in order to grow this, so you don't actually have to tap into the local municipal water supply. For kids who don't know how to build, they can turn around, they can build these structures in order to grow herbs, in order to provide a space for rainwater catchment. You can have you have a shipping container which is used for storage, but you can find out how to do alternative housing by converting that shipping container into housing for kids. You can start to teach them real skills. Now, where I'm gonna show you where the flaw in his argument is that you're only looking at this one particular space. We're in North Philadelphia.
I agree.
There are 40,000 abandoned lots in this area in North Philadelphia. So you can take this, which used to be an abandoned lot, and you can go throughout all of North Philadelphia and you can do the exact same thing. James said this hoop house that was donated to Philly Urban Creators
by Magic
Johnson,
Lansing, Michigan. Go green. Michigan State.
Which may have only cost Magic Johnson, nothing. Let's say it was $3,000.
Donate one. Yeah.
With $3,000, come on, look at all the food that they were able to grow year round. This is year-round growth that they can have because of a small donation that Magic Johnson made to this particular organization. So what we're saying is that, look at what's happening. You got 2 college-educated African-American men sitting here having an intellectual conversation about the philosophy of urban agriculture as a solution to urban issues, taking it to a really high level, and can actually have a real argument. So when we're talking about solutions, this is the kind of conversations we need to have. When we say we need to come back into our communities, this is why we need to come back into our communities. Because only we can, first of all, we're the only ones willing to come out into these spaces.
Sure, you're right. We're the only people here from I'm here for this convention, and yeah.
Ain't nobody else coming from DNC.
Everybody else is downtown.
Yeah, ain't nobody else coming from DNC over here.
They're not here at all. They're not here. It's so quiet over here.
But this is where they need to be.
And there's no gunshots going off.
None.
It's no gunshots.
The only thing we hear in the train that's going by.
Yeah.
So
this is nice. It's nice and quiet like Detroit. Everyone should go check it out.
So tell me.
I hear what you're saying, but again, it comes down to a problem of scale. Even though there are, would you say 40,000 lots?
40,000.
When I worked for the mayor of Detroit, and this is really an interesting statistic, at any given point in most major cities, and Philly is the 5th biggest city in the country, there's 7,000 blighted lots, meaning they're in bad condition where you couldn't necessarily do this at any given point in time. The 40,000 vacant lots that you're talking about with Philly, some of those are available to be reappropriated, some of them are blighted, and some of them are up for urban ag initiatives. A city like Detroit has 117,000 of them, which is unprecedented. But
Detroit is doing it on a big scale.
Well, yeah, so they are doing it on a big scale, but here's the deal. And the population is just a fraction of Philly's population, but they still cannot produce enough to cater to people. So, aside from that, I think we should look at the more capitalistic thing. And I don't think, I know that can be a bad word. Hold on.
If we go that direction.
Let me rap for a minute. I know that capitalism can be viewed as a bad thing, but I'm not talking about self-interest. I'm not talking about democracy. I'm just talking about the distribution of value from one point to another, and that's about capital. So when we talk about this place, let's say, Magic made it, let's just use an arbitrary number, call it $3,000 investment, right? Which it could be more, it could be less. The deal is, real value is being created here from that investment, residual value over time, via these fruits and vegetables, via this water purification system, and also via this learning space that I think people can't see far over there with the whiteboard. It's probably too far for the camera to pick up. But here's the kick. It's still not enough to reach the scale, even if you did this 100 times over. It's still not enough to scale to the point where it advocates and educates everyone. Because the whole point of a city is to concentrate not only efficiencies, which is a quantitative measure, but effectivenesses, which is a qualitative measure. You need outside resources, say rural areas, that are pouring into a city in order to make it work properly. So urban ag, adjacent things to agriculture are not the total solution to urban problems. It really is a bias and a choice for us just not to cater to people who are in urban areas. And that's a political issue, and it's an economic issue. It's not necessarily a technological issue, which is what all this is. This is tech responding to a lack of resources, and it's brilliant, and it's great. And I'm like doing cartwheels over here, like thinking I'm gonna eat some sunflower seeds and snatch some greens. I don't know where I'm gonna boil them tonight because I live in New York. But the deal is, it is still not enough to scale out. And what we're still doing, even if we over advocate for urban agriculture, and politicians or ignorant people in general start to adopt it as a total solution to the problem of discrimination.
Yeah. Now I say
it's not an ethnic just discrimination, but it's also
now I wouldn't say
economic, etc.
I wouldn't say a total. I wouldn't say it's a total solution.
I'm just saying, I just want to add that context.
And I think you raised great points about the scale. And that's real.
Scale is important.
But I think what we have
biggest city.
Well, what we have to recognize is that what's happening in space is that you have students and kids that are able to learn some things. I mean, listen.
No, I agree.
I got my kids out here walking around learning.
She's like, what's that?
learning about urban agriculture, and there's so many real deal things that you can learn that are not happening in the schools.
I agree.
So while it may not be able to be scaled up totally, it is a solution to the blight. Because what we have to recognize is where we're standing right now used to be a dump.
A blighted area. Yeah.
It was a blighted area, which when we say it's a dump, that means that you have all the ills from dumping to drug dealing to crime to murders to everything you can think imaginable. They happen in abandoned spaces.
I agree.
So what you have is a space that's no longer being abandoned. But I'll say what we need to do is change the way that we acknowledge space. We say this has no value because there's no building on it. Because there's no building on it, there's no income coming in off of this space. Because when we appraise a space like this, we don't see real value to an urban garden. Which means that some of the main issues that we have with urban gardens that are happening all over the country is that the minute you get an organization that does something like this, whether it's a small group or a big group, developers come in and say, oh, there's no value, but I see that it's actual potential. And they now change it and they gentrify it, they tear it up. And what the real value is to people that were living here. So the folks who couldn't get access to good food.
I agree. So the solution is more about ownership and
a solution.
Well, I think the end all. So if you look at the 40,000 units, right? Call them 40,000 lots, right? Some of them are available to be reappropriated and developed on right now. For capital structures, real estate structures, right? And we see the value in those from rents, right? And we move people around. We move people around for we create more urbanism, right? With this stuff, value can be created here. It just depends on how it's distributed. So if we quantify what this value is, if everyone takes one of these bushels of greens and they're eating them, whatever they might buy less from their grocery store, we just need to quantify that. See, value is a data set. And if we just look at it as a data set and measure it as a data set, then we'll be able to validate the idea that 10,000 of those 40,000 lots should probably be urban gardens because we use them for education. We can quantify that. We use them for food, we can quantify that. We use them for community space, we can quantify that. This is basically a park, in my opinion. But again, to my point, I think 30 or so thousand of those lots are probably still better appropriated as new structures. And so it's a balance, but it takes people in the community, people in academia, and people in government to insist that this stuff exists because it's all policy. And
now, just in the interest of time, what I'm going to say is this is the kind of dialogue that we need to have. Real dialogue in real spaces showing the work that real people are doing in order to transform their communities.
Getting bit by mosquitoes.
That's
Zika. That's Zika.
Stupid. So what I'm saying is that this is sustainability. This is true sustainability. This is the conversation. As I mentioned, sustainability is people, planet, profit. Recognizing that people matter, the environment matters, and through those two, recognizing the inherent value with those two, we can actually get profit. All right?
Upgrade my phone. How did you even get this? I don't think I had this on Facebook. What?
He ain't on that level. So what I'm saying is, on that, we're going to sign out. But I want to thank everyone that's on here for watching. I want to thank everybody who is acknowledging that this is some real stuff. And we're going to keep it going because there's a lot of work to do. As my good brother James just said.
It's a lot to do. It's a lot to do.
This one space can't do it all, and all 40,000 lots can't do it all. But we do have to change our paradigm. We do have to change the argument and the conversation. We have to change the way that we define value, because if we don't, we're gonna continue to go around in a circle. And listen, I ain't here to go around in a circle. I know this man ain't either. Yeah. Time is money.
We've been here. We've seen that. We did the 80s. We lived those.
Exactly. So Facebook, thank y'all for watching. We signing out.